Okay, so 3D printing is something people come to us for very often, but it is something we've been trying to utilize more in our content. So as you guys know, we have several different brands of 3D printers. I mean, we've had the TazBot, or the Lulzbot by TazBot. I believe that's what the brand was called. It's one of the first ones we got. It's a big filament, like 2.8 or something. Huge, it's big, okay? Then we got the Ender. Like, we modified an Ender and whatnot. Micro Center helped us with that, but the Ender has been definitely a challenge to work with. So we sold that, we got rid of that. And then we started working with Prusa. And we have a Prusa and a Prusa XL. And the XL is really cool because it has 5 switchable print heads. But what we've been hearing constantly over the last year or so is Bambu Labs. You're gonna do printing, Bambu Labs. It's all about Bambu Labs. And I've been asking myself, like, what is it about Bambu Labs that's so amazing? Well, first things first, thanks to Micro Center for bringing us out here and saying, yeah, you can take a Bambu Lab printer, of course. Who wouldn't say yes to that? But the first thing I notice is the enclosure. Oh my gosh, do you know how many times I've had Nick tell me, Jay, because Nick handles all of our 3D printing, Jay, we need enclosures. We need enclosures on our printers. One, because yeah, so he's even saying it again. As he's over there looking, look at this. He's over here like, ooh. By the way, we were told to grab whatever filament we want for it too, so. Yeah, well, you're buying that anyway. so anyway, I digress. We want to print in other materials besides just PLA and PLA+. Like ABS has, every type of material has its pros and its cons. And we want to start playing around with other neat filaments like metal infused and wood infused and carbon infused. And they all have different abrasions and other things to consider. The temperature of not just the print head and the nozzle and all that, but the environment is very important. So Nick has been telling me forever, we need to build enclosures, otherwise we can't print things like ABS and whatnot, because we want to start playing around with creating, you know, temperature channels and flow channels and stuff inside of our cases. Let's say we wanted to 3D print a custom neat backplate or something. How hot does the back of your GPU get? PLA will just turn into PL mush by the end of a single benchmarking session. So having the enclosure is important because not only do you have to control the print nozzle or the nozzle temperature, but you need to control the environment temperature too when it comes to certain materials. So having this enclosure is so nice. The fumes that come off of this stuff, depending on the filament you're using too, can be potentially harmful. So, and harmful to your lungs and stuff. So having it enclosed is important. It's kind of like resin printing. It's like, that could be toxic. That could be straight up toxic printing with resin. So we're really excited right now to check out the Bambu Labs. We're gonna be getting the H2D? We'll be getting the H2D, which is kind of neat because of the fact that it has a dual nozzle. So it can actually simultaneously print 2 materials, whereas when we talk about having the 5 nozzle setup that we have now with our Prusa XL, to change the material, it has to park the print head, grab a new print head, and keep going. It can't actually, at the same time, infuse 2 different colors or 2 different materials. So this will be really fun to play with. The print quality is insane. So this is an example of a dual nozzle print right here. You can see this is like almost like a Christmassy version of like a Chinese dragon here. This is all printed together as one piece, but you can see now how it can simultaneously print on top of other materials. And so you get this really neat 2-tone effect. It is so difficult. Like, it's such a high resolution. When we talk about printers, when we talk about resolution, it's what is the filament size and what is the layer height that you're able to build upon. Because remember, this is extrusion. We're extruding plastic and layering it up, or extruding a material and layering it up to create things. But check that out. It's like a chain. It's all interlaced. This is all printed on these machines. You see print sitting right here printing stuff. So it is only getting better and better. Like, this is nuts right here. And the durability of it's pretty insane too. Heck, when it even comes to the software on 3D printing, like the way that the support structures are built now, instead of just being this crazy grid like that you have to break off and it's hard to get into, now they've got these really thick, almost look like forest trees that hold everything up. It's just so much has evolved. But I want to start utilizing our 3D printers to develop things for systems. Like, for instance, I really want to do a video where we are going to build our own chambers inside of a case to fully direct airflow, have vents that pass off into the RAM and into the PCH and into the VRMs, and truly see the stuff like that make a difference. We can't really do that with PLA and PLA+. So ABS is going to be important. Printing in carbon is kind of neat too. There's stuff when it comes to automotive I can utilize it for. It's just kind of endless. So it's kind of funny because 10 years ago, you know, when Jerry was in Barnacle built this whole channel on 3D printing. If you look at where we are today from something like Ultimaker to where we are now with like Bambu Labs, it is just bonkers. But this is insane. Like this is all a single print. Look at that. So anyway, all of these are on display at the different Micro Center locations. So you can come and see and just feel the quality yourself when it comes to the prints. So some pretty neat functionality. I want to point out too, this is all actual plastic, not just 3D printed parts that they make themselves to build the thing. So they're actually going all out in terms of like the design and the build quality. This is like injection molded plastic and whatnot. So it's a lot of companies, like 3D printing companies, you look at the printer you just bought and you'll notice it's like 3/4 3D printed, which makes sense. But this to me speaks to a bit more durability and stuff. Now the downside is if you have a 3D printed printer, if something breaks, you can just 3D print the part. But this feels much more commercial to me. I mean, look at the display on here. So if you load the STL onto the drive, you just put the drive in, you load the STL, and off it goes,
yeah,
right?
It's a Bambu, you can actually just send it straight to the printer.
Like wirelessly?
Yeah.
Wow. But we had to measure the car to make sure it would fit in there because this is the box for it. It's 24 by 24 by like 32. So it barely fits, but Phil might have to ride on Nick's lap on the way home. We're back at the studio now. So it's time to unbox this thing and get it to start printing some stuff. How do you? It's supposed to unflat. Sure. Ow. Accessory box. Okay, so.
Okay, extra head.
Okay, it's bigger than I realized. Hey! You know, it's just funny. Like I said, I was excited about this because the Prusa stuff has been absolutely like next level for us in printing. And everyone's like, if you thought Prusa's good, you need to check out Bambu Labs. Now I'm gonna probably get an email from Prusa. It's like, we got something better. And I'd be like, I gotta know where else to put these things. Okay, we need to probably two-man lift this, huh? You're touching my hand.
Ew.
Now we're dating. Slide it out.
Sliding it out.
Slide it faster. Ah, it's my fingers. Ah. Oh, that's gonna get messy. Remove even more of the nutrients. Ah. So this is the AMS 2 Pro, and you can load 4 filaments at a time in here. So it comes with 2 packages of desiccant already. This silica packet, basically, it absorbs moisture. It absorbs
the moisture.
And they give us 1 extra bag here. So what we have to do is we have to tear out, I'm not gonna do it this very second, but it's a bag in a bag, essentially. And you tear out or tear off the outer bag, and then you just stuff them back right there, like that. And then this keeps your filament nice and dry, keeps any unwanted humidity out of there, which keeps your filament in its best condition, because if the filament gets humid, then it doesn't print properly, or it doesn't melt properly. So in this bag that was inside the AMS is some extra tubing, or filament tube. We get this little, God, everybody's basically using those size pins now. That's like the same as the 12-volt high power. But anyway, there's a 6-pin plug in the back right here, and I'm not sure where it goes to. Like there's one in the back that plugs into, and then it's the same on each end, so I don't know where the other half of this goes. I guess probably to this, huh? Maybe. Anyway, it's just a regular like power plug like you'd find off a power supply. It's an internal power supply on this, which is kind of nice. And then I will let Nick get this loaded up when it's ready to go. But the cool thing is we can have 4 filaments in here at one time. And yeah, you can see they load into each one of these nozzles right there. And then how it gets from, well, it looks like they all feed into this single outlet right there. Yep. And then they'll poop out right there. Like that's where the filament will poop out. So this is actually a ventilation louvers right here. They can open and close because this is obviously a self-contained system, so it can keep the temperature just right. This is the spool holder I just put on there right now, and it's got this guide. This is what I was just talking about. It's got right extruder and left extruder right there, and this is for TPU, as he said. So this is what we were saying, like you can have the AMS on top or whatever feeding 4 different types of materials, but only 1 at a time can come out. So we might have to have like 1 on the spool and then 1 in there. Otherwise, like you're only gonna have 1 material going in the extruder, which is then what's the point of a dual material extruder? So the cool thing with this too is it has a live camera feed in it. So you can actually, from the app, Nick was showing me, monitor your prints remotely without having to set up your own GoPro server or anything like that, or a webcam.
Print or whatever.
Yeah, it does it right from within the printer. So what we'll do is we'll come back, we'll get this all kind of set up, we'll come back, we'll show you guys the first startup, and then we'll start printing something tonight for us to show you tomorrow to end the video. Because what I want to start using our 3D printers for is I want to start playing around with, custom 3D printing, custom ducting inside of cases, so we can play around with like airflow testing and maybe even 3D print a case now that we have so many printers. Would you say the Bambu and the Prusa are close enough in quality to where we could print parts on multiple printers, like the Prusa and the Bambu, and then like assemble them and we should be pretty solid?
I want to say yes, but we could always double check and like do a calibration cube and just measure with calipers and see how off they are.
Yeah, we can even just ask Micro Center for like 4 more. All right, so first setup time. So it's gonna do a calibration process first here. It's gonna take 31 minutes. All right, so over 30 minutes later, it's gone through and done all its calibrations and its anti-vibration motor jiggers and whatever. Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. I don't know. Why would I look at you like that?
I was upstairs getting a video live while he was doing this. All right, get started. Okay, we'll deal with firmware update later. This is AMS that came with it. I expect it to at least work out of the box. So let's see, go to setup. Auto mode. Each AMS requires 1 spool of filament, taking about 20 seconds per AMS. Manual mode. Directly specify connection relationships. If men could...
Directly specify?
Yeah, directly specify relationships and connections. I'm just gonna stop right there. So if we get Bambu filament, which I want to now because of the RFID, inside, in between each of the 4 spools, so in between groups of 2, there is a sensor in there. And the filament that you can get from Bambu actually has an RFID sensor in it, which will tell the device what it is, which is really cool because then the device can automatically configure itself based on the known elements of that filament. So if you're running ABS, or you're running PETG, or running PETG Pro, or you're running, I don't know, carbon or wood metal filaments, like it'll know how to set the printer up based on that. So we have to do manual because this is a dumb filament. It doesn't tell the printer anything. And then it just rolls on those rollers.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna feed it, right, all the way to the print head.
You can see it back here, it's starting to feed.
Oh yeah, I see it going through the white tube.
So typically the Bambu spools are also made out of plastic, so you won't have the issue. I think this is also new for inland because I don't have any newer spools myself, but it looks like they started coating the.
Is that for grip?
Yeah, because
If it's just the bare like particle board, will it just slip?
and it'll start to clog up the AMS.
Oh, because these are rubberized in here for grip. Oh no, these are plastic back there.
Yeah. So like I have an AMS1, but I printed rings to go around it to help protect the rollers because eventually you start seeing the cardboard like disintegrate onto the roller, and then it kind of starts jamming it up.
So that's showing right now we have an external spool. So if I touch it, then I can say load for that. And then this is the AMS right here. Or it could have just been an external spool, but it's set up to right now to know that it's an AMS. So, ew, there's a dollop of poo. Oh, there we go. Okay, it made sure to get rid of it. So these are built-in models that are in the Bambu app on the computer.
Also, it'll also be Maker World.
Oh, okay, so it integrates with Maker World. Look, it was R2D2. We're gonna go ahead and just print that Recaro chair. So you can just do a search for Recaro. The Recaro chair is a phone holder. Yeah, see, we'll do the... So you were saying if we load this model, we should be able to, on the app, separate those two on the same print bed. There's plenty of room in the print bed to print all of that in one go without having to stop the print and move it.
Yeah.
So let's just see how we would do that, because that's what you were saying we need to come over here for. It would have made sense for us to put black
on the outside.
On the outside, because that's probably gonna be the most common color used. Everything's on auto, cool. Now it's just send. That's sending it to the printer, right?
Yep.
Sending print job through cloud service. You can see right now, like once you hit send to the printer, it switched over to the camera. I went to the printer with my body, because I wanted to see what was happening, and as you can see, it's working just fine. So it's preparing the print, obviously, and then heating up the nozzles, heating up the bed, heating up the chamber as well. And at this point, we're just gonna leave it. And I will monitor it from my phone because I can do that as well. Allow me to show you. So the cool thing is, you don't even have to be in the same building as the Bambu Labs printer to start and stop prints, as long as it doesn't spaghettify. Oh yeah, see that's at Nick's house right now, so he can see the print. And it's got really good lighting in there. In fact, you guys watch right here on the camera, you'll still hear me because I'm wireless mic'd up. I'm gonna turn off all the lights in there because it's about time to leave for the day anyway. Can you still see me? Okay, after about 25 minutes of recalibration. Now the whole calibration thing we did earlier, it did it again. There it goes. Wow. I'm gonna go see it in person. The craziest part is how quiet this printer is.
I guess that motor noise cancellation really does work.
So it's vibrating counter motors to cancel out the motor sounds of the printer. So we'll just see how this goes. So far it seems like everything's sticking just fine. Yeah, Nick, we need to change the white to black because that's gonna be the most common color used. It's very inefficient actually. We would have wasted more material by printing the black and the purple out of the AMS2 than if we used one here and one there, because it has to back out all of that filament and then it chops off a lot of it, and it keeps, it was probably gonna take 3 times as long, honestly, to print. And then 2, it said we would save 136 grams of wasted material by doing the double print head like this. This whole print is only a little over 100 grams. So we would have wasted more material than we would have actually used to print the thing. So this is our bad. We should have taken black, which is the most common color we'd probably use, and put it on the external rather than up in the AMS. That way we can always have colored accents in the AMS or alternate materials, and then black on the outside. All right, well, I guess we'll come back tomorrow and see how this does. I'll know how it does before we ever get here because of the camera feature, but you guys won't know until now. Yeah, well, that failed miserably. It's not the printer's fault. In fact, the printer was doing great. So the printer was actually doing great. Like, look at that. That is great quality right there. Same thing with this. This is the other side. So this would have been it's literally like hair, but that's where, that would go, or like that. It goes like that, I think, whatever. Anyway, it's the white. The white was the problem. It's my own fault for not trusting my instinct when I went. The white continues to drip when it was doing its setup. And we believe the white was pretty wet. Makes sense. It was stored out in the warehouse. It was just raining for a few days. The warehouse definitely gets humid out there because it has an open ventilation in the warehouse roof. And the filament that's all up here inside the AMS was still in its wrap, where is it? Inside, it's in a sealed package that also has the silica packs in there. So that was dry. This one, that's just been sitting out, was free to absorb moisture. So that dramatically affects its melting point and how fast it wants to dry too, which means just blowing the fan on it, even in a warm sealed enclosure, couldn't dry it, so it just continues to drip. If we look at the tower, look, it's the white. It's white everywhere. That's terrible. But more importantly, it actually detected it. In fact, I knew it detected it last night before I went to bed. I got a notification on my phone that spaghetti detection, and then I looked at the camera and it popped up the same warning, and then it showed me, it said, do you want to continue printing? I almost said yes to make it funnier, but I didn't want to waste material. So the cool thing is it detected it, but I feel like it detected it pretty late, considering it was doing it down at these lower layers. But yeah, the crazy part is this looks like thread. This looks like cotton. Like, it's so thin. Anyway, so it caught it. Let's see now if I can unload it and load the black. Click this, click that, unload. Okay. So this now goes here. Okay, that's at the end. Now we need to load it. Okay, it's pushing out the white leftover. Yeah. Keep going. It's turning gray. That's a good sign. The best way to test if something's idiot-proof is you just have to find yourself a nice idiot. Fortunately, we always have one handy. Actually, we have 3 of them. Look what I got. Ooh. Kind of looks like a speaker, huh? It is actually a torque adjustable electronic screwdriver.
That is like the most laser targeted guide gadget for all of us here in the office.
It was like 60 bucks, still cheaper than the LTT screwdriver. Okay, so half Newton meter, 1 Newton meter, 2 Newton meter, 3 Newton meter, 4 Newton meter, 6 Newton meters. We really only need like a half for PC stuff, but check it out. I can just take this off, right? So here's the way it works. It just turns itself off when it hits the right torque. All right, enough of this, it's done. All right, that one finished almost perfectly. There's an error right there. It almost looks like it misaligned somehow, but then it still kept going and it sort of worked. And also it unstuck itself. So it's funny, as the plate was cooling, I've been hearing this cracking sound because the pieces are basically just unsticking themselves as it, well, except for that one. And then the chair unpopped. Chair turned out really good, actually. But here's the tower. Look how, oh my gosh. The back is so smooth, it looks like a solid piece of plastic. Yeah, so this is just a wipe tower. This is how it cleans itself off as it goes over to the next pair. Look at how flexible that is too. Like, remember how I broke the other stuff apart? That's how it's supposed to be, and that's only one layer. It's stronger than the whole chair was. I gotta assemble this real quick though, but these pieces though, like, these turned out really good. That's the only thing that kind of sucks about little roll cages, is that right there. It looks broken, but it's actually attached because the next layer's kind of re-glued it. Now, if I wanted, if it really bothered me, I could probably snap this and CA glue it, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave it because it works. So let me assemble this real quick. Some will say it's a race car. I say it looks like a roller coaster seat. Anyway, yeah, I use stainless hardware because it looked nice in there. We should have done like a loud color for that frame though. But anyway, phone holder, boom. And it has a hole in the bottom. So if you wanted to put a charger on there, it would still fit through there. Check it out. So yeah, I guess just, that was a little bit of a tech demo. The chair, it's funny because the chair looked the worst before because it was in the white material. And the white material was very wet and was not up to the job. I feel like what we need to print now is little like TPU feet, like strip to go on the bottom, because the only thing it doesn't have is grip. It wants to slide around everywhere. But there you go, interesting little phone holder. That corner kind of bothers me, but it's hidden behind the phone anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. I'm gonna try, I know we've had 3D printers for a while, but now I'm really trying to figure out the best way to utilize them, because we're gonna print the same, like a calibration cube and such on our Prusas versus our Bambu Labs. That way we can make sure they're all within the same tolerances. If so, then we might start big projects like 3D printed case, sort of thing. I know it's not the first time anyone's done it, but it'd be the first time we've done it. So I think it'll be fun to play around with that. But that turned out so much better than the first one did. The other one's in the trash because it was trash. And we're gonna get on out of here. So again, a huge thanks to Micro Center for supporting us and allowing us to go and pick one of these up. I was not expecting it to be this high tech. And I love the fact that right now, as soon as I clean this off with alcohol and put it back in, I could literally load a print from my phone and start it remotely without even being here. So like tonight, I'm gonna let something else print. What, I don't know. I'm gonna look through the models and see if I can find something cool. I gotta start doing other things besides PLA though. Like PLA is easy, but it's weak. It's like some of the weakest material you can use. It's also the lowest melting temp. So wouldn't be using PLA in PCs because they could get far too warm in there with some of the components. And you definitely wouldn't want to print anything out of PLA you're gonna put in your car, because in the summertime, it will absolutely change shape on you and just melt into a blob. So PLA is fun to learn on, but that's about as good as PLA is as far as I'm concerned. Like for maybe things like this, it's fine. But I want to start printing in carbon. I want to start printing in ABS and other materials that can be fun to play around with, especially the metal infused stuff too. That'd be cool for some of these projects. I kind of want to, even though Diablo is like old news, no one cares about Diablo 4 anymore. I don't know if Diablo 5 is in the works or something, but I've seen some really cool like Lilith statues and like horns, and it'd be neat to do like a Diablo themed build, but I feel like that train done left the station and derailed way down the line somewhere. So I don't know. You guys give me suggestions on how you think I can utilize a 3D printer for some pretty sick themed builds. Don't forget, the Jasonante was a 3D printing project. So you remember how good that turned out.